Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back into the room. For the second part of our morning, we have Fiona Cunningham, CEO of Member First Credit Union, valued customer at TEKenable. She's going to give a bit of a presentation, and then we've got a few demos of the systems that we built for Member First. So thank you very much, Fiona. Over to you.
Pete. Thank you. Morning, everybody, or good afternoon. I did say to Nick, I think I've had the graveyard shift, but when I saw the size of those cookies, I said, definitely have, yeah. So what I intend to do for the next 10 minutes or so is just to bring you through our journey and our relationship with TEKenable and where it's brought us to over the last 2 years or so. Similar to other customers, when we linked up with TEKenable, a couple of the guys came over here, and I think Jason's the third one you've been to now at this stage, is it? Yeah. So we're really enjoying your events, so keep them going. So to say a little bit, does anybody know what a credit union is, or are they a member of a credit union? That's great, delighted. So for many, many years in Ireland, the credit union was known as the poor man's bank, but it's far from poor, as you can see from the stats here. Member First serves across North Dublin, so when I came across here this morning, I had to cross to the south side, the dark side. As being a north sider, that's a difficult thing to do. We've a loan book of 125 million. We've assets of 408 million. And we serve, we've about 100,000 members on our system, and the community we serve is actually 5 times that. So lots of people on the north side of Dublin are not members of our credit union. And we have 72 employees. So from our point of view, as a large credit union on the north side of Dublin, throughout our journey, the credit union sector has had a lot of transfer of engagements over the last 10 years or so. So the credit union sector has gone from 408 credit unions in Ireland down to 180. And Member First is what they call an anchor credit union, or a large credit union, which a lot of credit unions would transfer into. So over the last 10 years, we've had about 8 transfers of engagement, so 8 different credit unions on the north side of Dublin merging in to what is Member First Credit Union. So we had to rationalise our branch network, and that's simply because of, at the end of the day, it's a business that you're running, and you have to look at the return to our members. It is a not-for-profit organisation, and we return a dividend to our members each year. So we had to look at the business and say it wasn't viable to keep all of these branches open. So we did some consolidation of our branch network down to 5 branches across North Dublin now. So I suppose from our point of view, why now, and why did we want to use AI? As a credit union, a lot of what we live and breathe is what we have, the member facing. Our unique selling point is the personal touch that we have. And within Member First, we have what we call our 3 Ps, which is a professional service, a personal touch, and a positive experience. And that's what sets us out from different banks and other financial institutions. And it's ironic that 2 of our branches were former bank buildings. So our head office in Artane Roundabout used to be the Bank of Ireland, and our office in Swords used to be Danske Bank. So a little bit strange on that one. So what we decided to do in the last couple of years was say, well, what is it that our members want? What is it? So as it's distinct from customers, which most financial institutions, it's a member-owned organisation. So we had to look at our member research and understand what it was the members wanted from us. So it's great to sit in a boardroom, sit in an office and say, we're going to do this product, but is that really what people want? So we did extensive research with a company called Spark Market Research over the last number of years, and we started off. Prior to COVID, obviously, there was focus groups, and they were in person. And it was in a room like this, and people spoke, members and non-members, about their experience within the credit union sector. And from that, we decided what was our strategic vision for our organisation going forward, and what did we need to do. And one of the biggest, I suppose, lessons from those market research that we did, the world we lived in was changing, and it was continuing to change. And if we didn't move with the digital enhancements, our competitors are going to wipe us out. So the Revoluts of this world, all of the, let's say, digital banks that were coming into Ireland were going to wipe the credit union out. So we had to act, and we had to act now. So the outcomes from our research, I suppose the ones that we looked at, and this is our most recent research, was to modernise in a digital brand experience. And that's very, very difficult for an organisation like a credit union that has been in existence in Ireland for over 60 years, which is very much of the community, very much member focused. And now all of a sudden, people aren't coming through the door. You're dealing with them in a digital space. So we had to change the way we did business, not losing sight of the personal service that we offer and making sure that that was still evident when we're dealing with our members. So these are the main results of our surveys. And again, for us, we said, well, how are we going to do this? We have a core banking system. We don't have a CRM system. And for many, many years, we looked around and we spoke to different people. And I would say the day when we met Nick and Peter was transformational for Member First Credit Union, because every other CRM provider that we'd spoken to, and John, the Deputy CEO who's with me here today, we brought people in, and I won't name the names, but I'm sure you all know who else can provide this service. But none of it was integrated. So it was another bolt-on, another add-on, another system to have to worry about. And similar to the other speakers this morning, we are very much a regulated entity. So you're dealing with the Data Protection Commissioner. You're dealing with the central bank. You have to make sure everything is 100% correct. So ultimately, having another system to worry about that's not actually integrated is not what we wanted to do. So we have our strategic vision, as I said, and the strategic vision that we have is to reimagine financial services in our local communities, which is really, really important to us. And I heard some people asking this morning about risk. Every night we go to bed, we think of risk. The risk of data being lost, the risk of somebody suing us, the risk of all the risk, everything is risk orientated. But from the previous slide, the top 4 items there were going to be satisfied by a CRM system. So we felt that we needed to move and move quickly, because we had been looking at this for a number of years and we had no results. Everybody we spoke to came in, showed us big glossy systems. We said, yeah, that's fine, but how does it talk to our core system? How does it get the up-to-date information? And they said, well, it doesn't do that. And we said, well, we don't want to deal with you. But then we met our friends in TEKenable. But I suppose data is the biggest asset that we all have. The banks, credit unions are the envy of banks, because not only do we have the information about our customers, our members, we actually know them and they know us. So most people that come into the credit union are known by name. They know the staff member by name, and that's very unique, and that's our USP. But also the amount of data we have about people. So if you look what the CEO of Microsoft, we're in the building here now, has said, and this is something that it resonated with us so much, we said we have to do something. So it's to convert all of that data into intelligent action. If we continued on the path that we were on, we have this famous, we used to call it the green box, and if we spoke to a member, a message went in the green box. So the green box, if you're a member for 40 years, your green box gets quite big, I can tell you. So we were running out of space, we were running out of, what do we say now? What do we do with this member? What's the next best action we have for this member? We just couldn't do it, because we had, Excel spreadsheets, we had a data warehouse, we were trying to get information from everywhere. And yes, we had all this information, but not in one central repository. So the decision that we made, and we're only starting on our journey, and I always remember 2 years ago, and probably, I don't know if there's anybody here from FBD Insurance, but they were really helpful to us when, Nick and Pete and the people in TEKenable can tell you how brilliant they are, but go talk to their customers and find out just how good they actually are. So that's what we did. We independently went and spoke to FBD, who gave the guys a glowing reference. So we decided to embark on our journey with the guys. Why did we do it? Because there was significant change in the way our members were doing their business, especially post-COVID. People just found another way, and we had other ways for people to transact their business. So when you consider we had over 1.7 million transactions over the counter back in 2014, and in 2025 that figure had gone down to 239,000. Now our business had continued to grow. We still had the transactions, but they were being done on digital forms, digital formats, which is where people want to transact. People want to sit at home. They want to use their mobile phone. They do not want to come into an office and queue up. And we felt, well, how are we going to do this? So we had to look at all of the efficiencies within our system. And digital was the new way of doing business. But the member engagement piece was so important to us. So 80% of our members are now using online channels. We had to look and say, and it's really interesting what the guys spoke about earlier on, we've put our staff through just an AI information training session, simply because there's a huge fear in the workforce that people think, well, if AI comes in, am I going to lose my job? And we're saying, no, you're not. You're just going to be able to spend more time on critical tasks, member-facing tasks, and less time on the mundane tasks that can be done by our digital assistant. So we created these hubs, and the first hub we created was a member services centre. So one of the biggest challenges you have in a credit union, we'd have about 8,000 phone calls a month across the branch network that go to a centralised members hub. And when that person comes in, okay, here we are, data protection, who are you? Can you give us a unique password? What's your date of birth? So people's information is so important. And one of the biggest challenges we had that we wanted when the phone rang and the member was at the other end, we wanted their account to pop up onto the screen. Now that sounds simple. It's not that simple. It has taken us quite some time to get there, but that's exactly what we needed. We needed instantaneous access to have that 360 view of the member and know, who am I talking to? Has this person got a loan? Has this person got a need? Has this person got insurance? So it's giving you that complete profile of the person you're speaking to. So that was a big challenge for us and something we needed. We then have a loans hub, so predominantly our business is through lending, 125 million of a loan book. And again, we do mortgages. People will be surprised, credit unions do mortgages. We have a very active mortgage book within our credit union. So we have a centralised loans hub. So again, people can ring directly in and loans are turned around within 24 hours, and in some cases less than that when they're all done electronically. The Innovation Hub came about as a result of us speaking with the guys, and Jason and the guys headed up an Innovation Hub. And the main reason for that was to look at efficiencies and how could Member First use all of this data to the best of our ability. And we then realised we haven't got the ability to do this and we needed external support, and that's when we reached out to the guys. And then the final piece is the Member Engagement Hub, which is where we're heading to now, simply because we now have a system that we're starting to build from the ground up, which will enable us to have meaningful engagement with our members. And most importantly for us was the 3 Ps I spoke about earlier on, to ensure that that was provided across all our various channels. So why did we go there? We called it the MX platform, which is the Member Experience Platform. So it's distinct from a CRM system, which most people are familiar with. So our members wanted a seamless, personalised experiences, and we wanted that from them. If you buy something off the shelf, you haven't made it. It's already made for you. And it's very, very difficult then to reprogram that to what you want it to be. We wanted, again, as I say, they're raising the bar in relation to the Revoluts of this world, and we had to be better than them in what we did and be good at the things that we do well. Staff needed quick, accurate access to member information. And as I mentioned earlier on, the most important piece there being the integrated phone system. The MX platform centralises all of the member engagement into one area, and that's really, really important for us. So instead of, when somebody calls into the call centre, instead of somebody looking at Scion, which is our banking platform, and then deciding, well, okay, I have to check this out and I have to go somewhere else to check that, and I might have to go into the data warehouse. Now they just see everything on one page, a complete 360 view. And most important of all, the AI that's built into this is going to give us better insights about the member. So it looks, Fiona Cunningham, 21-year-old, well, that photograph outside said I'm 21. She has a loan, but her car loan is due. She got that car loan 3 years ago, 5 years ago, so she needs a new car. So it's going to give us the next best action for that member, which again is brilliant for us to grow our business and to show the member that we care about them and that we know about them. And it supports, most importantly, our business and our membership growth. So what does the MX platform deliver? It gives us, as I said, a unified platform for all member interactions. So in the past, the famous green box is where you put your information about the person. Now everything about that person, when they last phoned in, when we last contacted them, when we last sent them a letter, even down to simple things like if there is a phone call and there's an issue, we can pull that phone call straight away, which again, I'll explain later on, wasn't so easy for us in the past. The members' details can be updated straight away, and this is where the systems are speaking to each other. So our main banking system, Scion, has members' loans and shares data, but all of the other data, the single source of truth will be the MX platform. It is integrated, as I said, most important of all, and I love when Peter speaks about the email and the SMS and the chat and the phone. We had a digital member of staff about 6 years ago, and her name was Alexa. And, we programmed Alexa to answer certain questions and the chat bots and all that kind of thing. So from our point of view, that was novel then, but it's nothing now. So you have to constantly keep on moving with AI. The insights, as I said, on the next best action, but it's personalised. So it's not just saying every time somebody rings, ask them, do they want a loan? because I have a pain in my face because I rang yesterday and asked me that same question. So it now tells us not to ask that question because you've asked it yesterday, ask them a different question. So it's all down to the personalised approach that we have on this. And then it logs and manages service requests and feedback. So somebody might want to call back about a particular issue that they might have. It could be a death claim, somebody in their family has died, and insurance, and it might be a method for us to be able to send a message to our finance department to contact those people. Okay. So the 360 view of the member, how it does it. As I said, everything about you is there. And that's really transformational for us. The transaction patterns and the financial behaviours. The one thing, people that join a credit union are lifers. So distinct from the DPP, they're in credit unions for a different reason, but they are there from cradle to grave. And what we hope from the time the child joins in school all the way through when they go to college, when they buy their first car, when they get married, when they have their first baby, when they buy their house. And we've seen that over our 60 years, that people stay with us, they're loyal to us. And hence why it's so important for us to watch and learn what the financial requirements are of people. So it's really, really important to have all that information in one place. The interactions, as I said, there's many different areas, and we are delving into these with Peter and the team in relation to how AI can help us, because we've multiple departments like any other business, but the digital channels being supported by AI, similar to every business. info@mfcu.ie, what time are you open till? It's in the frequently asked questions, but do we ask? Do we go? No. So all of these mechanisms that AI can deliver for us will be, again, really important and time saving for the business. Same with loan applications. We do have some automation on our loans, but one of the things that we have, which is crazy, from a compliance point of view, it's not so crazy, but they all have to be checked and ensure that they're in compliance with the loan policy. When the central bank comes in and says, okay, this person has got a mortgage, have you checked this, this and this? AI can do that for us in the future. Isn't that right, Peter? At the moment, it could take hours for somebody to take a loan application, a mortgage application, and check all the different fields, ensure they're all ticked. Now AI can do that for us. Marketing engagement, member consents is a big issue for credit unions and big issue for consumers. People do not want to get information thrown at them every day of the week, whether it's an email, whether it's an SMS. They want to approve and say, yes, I do want to get that information. So the whole marketing consents for us in this MX platform is huge. And then again, as I said, the lifestyle goals and the stages of your life and the preference that you might have. When we're doing targeted campaigns, the MX platform can pull up, give me all the 25-year-olds who have a car and it's due for renewal. And straight away we have a campaign built through Microsoft Dynamics. And I keep on saying it, but it's so important for us, the next best action, how AI can help us deliver that. So it was funny because Jenny said to me the other day, Fiona, I think that slide might be wrong. I think they're in the wrong place. I said, no, Jenny, look at the bottom line. For us, it's so important. As individuals, when you are interacting with an organization, gone are the days, where you just were a transaction. People now, it's all about how they feel. If I talk to my 23-year-old, I'm sure lots of you have 23-year-olds, they're so in tune with themselves and life and snowflakes and all that kind of good stuff. So it's really, really important. How did you make me feel? What about my mental health, the way you spoke to me, the way you interacted with me? So this is why the whole emotional piece for us and how a member feels is so important. So if you're speaking to somebody and you know something about them and you're able to relate to them, the conversation is so much nicer than being robotic, which is what happens most of us now when we ring places. It's press 1, press 2, and you go around and around the houses and you never get to the person that you want to get to. So this is why we feel that the member experience and why we built this platform and why we're only in the, I suppose, initial stages of building this platform. It's because that's the game changer. That's the difference it's going to make for the future. That's what people want. So you've got to give people what they want. We're no longer just functional and ticking the boxes and spewing out the transactions. We have to think of all the emotional side of what people want. So AI in Member First, as I said, the roadmap, and the guys, I was sitting there earlier on this morning and Peter was talking. I said, hey, you never told me that, Peter. So I was making a few notes and I looked at all the various departments and I said, there's so many possibilities for us. It's huge. We've only really tipped at some of the items. So within any financial organisation, and most organisations, you'll have policies and procedures, you'll have work instructions. But when Peter said to me, well, so Fiona, you get a phone call and somebody asks you, what's the maximum loan you can give? All of a sudden, the digital assistant will go look at your policies and come back with an answer. And that's why it's transformational. Because we won't be reducing our headcount, we will be redeploying people to more important areas of the business. So when we look at this and Copilot, as I said, we had 40 of our staff just to introduce them to AI in January, and introduce myself to AI, because I didn't believe this man when he came and spoke to us last October. He came to speak to the senior management, and he produced a document on the future of credit unions in Ireland from 2025 to 2035, something that would have probably taken us days to do in the past through focus groups and through different aspects of our business. And Peter walked in with this 10-page document and said, AI did that for me. And he did it in half an hour. So, lest we think that AI isn't important in the world we live in today, because for me, when I see what can be done and what has been done, it's phenomenal. And I've also seen it through with our board. Our board are also going to training in May, but I think one of the points was made earlier on, it's about the incremental steps. It's about having the guardrails built. Because we know staff will do, if you give somebody a project to do, the first thing they're going to ChatGPT, tell me how to do A, B, C. But when you're in a financial institution and a regulated entity, it's so important that people don't just data dump stuff into the ether of the www and everybody can see it. So it's really important for us. So as I said, there's so many different items here. The phone centre, the member services centre, compliance, which is one of the bugbears of mine, because we have the central bank checking the checkers. You must check this, you must audit this, you must do this. And yes, we must do those. But tasks that are taking days, weeks for people to do, that AI can do within minutes. And similar, and Peter will always say this, you cannot just 100% trust it, but it's a darn sight better if I'm looking for somebody to go through, let's say 1,000 loan applications in a month and make sure they're all filled out correctly. Think of the time that takes a person, where now we can scrape the document. That's the correct terminology? Scrape the document, and now it can tell us where the errors are. And the human probably would have found the same amount of errors, which are basically minuscule. They're like, of the 1,000, there might be 1 or 2 errors, but we have to do that. So now AI can do that for us. And one other thing, and I'm going to finish up now, is we get people, we have lots of really, really positive engagements and interactions with our members. So we don't have a complaints log, we have positive feedback and areas of improvements log, right? So it sounds better and it makes you feel better than somebody complaining, right? So we have the positive feedback, which is really, really good, and it's a great motivator for staff. But we do get the odd member who will complain about something. And you have to empathise with people, because their perception of the phone call might be totally different to somebody that was on the other end. And one of the things the guys were able to do for us, and we were going, Jesus. So in the past, they'll say, Mary rang at 11:05 and she was complaining because she didn't get her loan. So we'd say, okay, John, will you pull out those phone calls? And we start going through, try to find that phone call. Was it a man or a woman? And we're listening to about 6 phone calls before, 6 phone calls after, and you're trying to find Mary. The lad said, now all you have to do is go into Mary's account in MX platform. You can see that Mary had a call at 11:05. Press the button. Hey, presto, the phone call is there. And not only is the phone call there, it will actually tell you where the phone call changed tone. Like, it's incredible. Where we would have taken days and hours of man hours to try and find that. And now all of a sudden, with the flick of a button, you have that information. It's powerful stuff. And as I said, for us, at the end of all of this, the most important thing to us is the member relationship and not losing sight of that. So although technology is going to help us greatly, what it is going to do for us as a credit union and for people that are member focused is to give us the time to spend with people and find out what it is they want from their financial institution. So I think that's it, guys, for me, I think. No. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm going to give some demo slides, actual demo, and then we have a little bit of a video as well that Pete's going to introduce around another demo topic as well. So I suppose, first of all, yes, this is just a demo, some information is redacted. I think we got our redaction assistant, I think it was Aaron, probably redacted this for us on some of the screenshots, and just touch on some of the information that Fiona just outlined, and then we'll get into actual some demo areas on the system. So again, as Fiona was calling out, we have, this again is out-of-the-box functionality within customer service, within Dynamics, but again, it's the concept of that personal touch for the staff members. But I'm able to track down a call in this instance, who the call is from, etc. Up here. We also have the actual transcript of the call, as you can see here, so we can see exactly what was happening in the call over a period of time. And very importantly down here, like you're saying, Fiona, you have the ability to, when you drive into the actual, listen to the call itself, you can get to various different points in the call where we're getting sentiment analysis from the system. So again, this is again provided to us by the technology. We're hooking into the technology, and it's allowing us then to, I suppose, analyze this information, as you said, when you want to maybe look at a particular scenario with a customer, but also it's about training as well with the actual, in the member hub for staff, and trying to improve that customer experience. And that leads on to the next level, where you're looking at sentiment analysis maybe at an agent level, where you're trying to determine the types of sentiment you're getting in terms of calls across a number of calls of that particular agent, and helping with the training of that. So again, it's very powerful analysis, KPI information that's been delivered, again, out of the box with the tool set. And then finally, you're down to the more complicated areas where you're looking at, well, is there a trend with on these particular types of calls, maybe against a particular customer? You can have maybe the sentiment is going in a slightly negative direction for us, or also maybe it's training with the actual agent. So again, very powerful information. Once you're hooking this together, against the call analytics that's coming through on the membership hub, and into this area for the analytics piece. So I'm going to jump on to the next one, which is to jump into some demo screens. So I have a interface here to the MX system. Again, looking at account details. I don't know if anybody here is a fan of wrestling, professional wrestling, but John Cena is our member. And again, we're just going to show you sort of getting the basic information Copilot. I can use this to sort of get basic information as an agent, generic information about the account. Again, it's going to pull in back some information here for this particular John Cena record, which is generally going to pull back general content from the web, and also from the account information that we have on record for John. So again, this is useful for an agent to be able to quickly look up and see information about John, what we've discussed with him to date, etc., against his particular account. So again, very simplistic, but ultimately very powerful interface for the agent to use Copilot within the actual tool set within Sales Hub. If I drill into another form here, which is getting into a bit more detail, it's your green boxes, as you're saying, Fiona, quick insights, next actions. Again, the agent can interact here, and what we've done is we've taken Copilot in the MX platform, and we've extended it with our own digital assistants. So, for instance, I'm going to engage with this Copilot here. So I'm going to ask it a question as an actual agent. So I want to see what's involved with particular. I might have a question around how do I become a member of MSCU? What are the criteria? Maybe I want to ask that question of the agent. So how do forgive my typing? So what's for them? So we've enhanced the Copilot out of the box to now look at FAQ information, etc. So to build out a subject matter expert that's going to support the agent with queries that come in from customers, or indeed that maybe the agent wants to look up to be able to help a customer with a particular information. So again, I can see here that I'm pulling back various information that's already pre-prepared, pre-sanitized, that's internal to the organization, that's allowing the actual agent to pull back. And again, this is our own SME agent that's embedded within the Copilot space. So again, powerful, useful tool for the agent to help with next best access to the customer, but also enhancing on the sort of the out-of-the-box Copilot capabilities within the platform. Another one I'm going to do here quickly is where the agent may have, you mentioned, Fiona, training, learning. We're trying to enhance, I suppose, the ability for the agent to interact with customers as efficiently as possible. So they might have questions around how do I use the system, because I've got lots of information on the system here, for instance, the 360 view, where I can see the member details, the loans, appointments, etc., employment details. But maybe as an agent, I'm not sure I need to do a particular task in the system. So in this case, I'm going to ask the agent, can I just give me help to understand how to use the timeline. So if I just going to So again, I'm just asking a simple query of the system to help me with the timeline feature. The timeline feature is really, really powerful, as we're talking about. It gives, again, the ability to see all emails, all phone calls, all communications that I may interact with the customer. And again, we're able to give the agent that benefit of that information. That is, we have prepared, we've pointed the agent at to say this is the source of the materials for it to continue to grow and enhance and to support the agents. I suppose one of the points here is that this information is, I suppose, internal right now, but again, this is the goal of rolling this out to the actual members via portal. These same agents will then be embedded in the portal to support actual interactions directly with the end customers. So I'm just going to take one other final scenario here in the demo, which is around a case. So this is where I'm working on a particular case. My colleague, Mohammed, has been looking at this particular case. I note that Mohammed is actually on leave in this instance. So again, slightly different. We're in a case situation for a particular potential new joiner to MFCU. So you can see here that Mohammed has given me some information about the case, that he's currently unavailable on holidays, but he is passing the case over to me to look after. So again, the customer's looking for some customer documentation. Again, using out-of-the-box features, Copilot, I can get an actual case summary here as part of this for the actual agent to be able to use in terms of understanding it. I can also take ownership of this particular case myself here quickly. So as part of doing that, I'm just bringing the case into my, I suppose, area of remit, my responsibility. And again, we can go to Copilot when this saves, and we can just see, again, a bit of contextual information that Copilot is going to give me also on this particular case. So because the case has talked about a non-member applying for loans, the system has automatically given me a prompt in the actual Copilot to ask if I wanted to do a search and see, well, can non-members apply for loans at MFCU? So again, I'm going to use this particular prompt as a guidance for me, as a next best action, to go and look up the information that's available to me. Again, it's looking up the FAQ information that's behind the scenes and any other useful documentation that's available to us. So I've gotten various different eligibility criteria. I'm just going to go through the scenario again. I want to translate this because this particular Joe Blogs actually is Polish, and I want to translate and communicate in Polish. You can see here very quickly I can do this feature relatively straightforward. And when that converts, I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to use that information, and I want to go back to the timeline now to maybe do a communication to that particular customer. So I wanted to go via email. I've gotten information about the criteria that's needed to be sent to the customer. So again, we're now in the email feature within the actual case. So let me just paste this content in. So I've got my content. I'm going to say, can you please add a footer to say from oh my god, service in Polish. So I'm going to ask Copilot to do that for me because I'm not very good at Polish, and apologies to any Polish speakers in the room. And it's added in a nice kind regards, thank you in Polish for me, and I can keep that, and then I can simply send that particular email as appropriate to the actual contact that's embedded within the engagement. So again, the timeline then is refreshed with the update. My information has been sent to the customer in Polish, etc., using Copilot. So again, very useful guidance given to me for my next action in the tool set. You've seen also where we've extended the Copilot capabilities to focus on particular digital assistant types to support the agents in particular learning and training of and the adoption of the platform, and also then in more general questions that relate to subject matter expertise related to the actual member union, member first credit union itself. So that completes the demo online, and I think I'm moving forward, and we're on to Pete. Pete.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Thanks very much, Noel. So a little bit of interactivity for this next bit. What you've seen so far is real, albeit in a test system. What we're going to show you now in a few seconds is an AI call center agent digital employee. Now, we can't show it to you as such. What you're going to hear is an audio recording. The audio recording was done live. It was in one take, and we're showing you in the background the MX system with the customer record of the record of the customer that is calling in, so you can see some of the interactions that take place. What I'd like you to do, if you wouldn't mind, is when you click on that or scan that QR code with your phones, it'll bring up a little website, a form basically that'll ask you, what did you hear? What capabilities and what features did you hear in the audio track or see in the video taking place? So this scenario is a member ringing in. Oh, sorry, may or may not be a member. You'll find out during the audio. And they have some inquiries. Now, this is never going to take the place of a human call center operator. I do want to make that point. It's not intended to take the place of a human being during the day. The utility that we see for this, and this is our digital call center agent, is for out-of-hours call answering when there is nobody to answer the phone other than a voicemail, or for overflow operation during the day if there are too many calls for humans to reply to or to answer. So if you're all ready, we'll play the video. It runs for about 4 minutes. Listen, watch, and then we'll be asking you, or we'll see what you've put into the forms. And if that doesn't work, because this is new tech to us, we just ask you.
You're speaking to the automated assistant for Member First Credit Union. I can help you with car loans, repayment estimates, and booking an appointment with a loan advisor. How can I help you today?
I would like to get some information about car loans. What type of car loans do you offer?
Member First Credit Union offers 2 types of car loans. The Green Car Loan with a 5.75% rate, 5.9% APR for electric or hybrid vehicles, and the non-Green Car Loan with an 8.3% APR for other cars. Would you like more details about either option?
I'm actually interested in the Green Car Loan. I think I need about 70,000 euros over a period of 3 years. Can you help me?
Absolutely. Please hold for a few moments while I calculate an estimated monthly repayment for a 70,000 euro Green Car Loan over 36 months. The estimated monthly repayment for a 70,000 euro Green Car Loan over 36 months is about 2,115 euros. Would you like me to check eligibility in principle for you?
Yes, I'd like that.
Great. First, are you already a Member First Credit Union member?
Yes, I'm a member.
Perfect. To check eligibility in principle, I'll need your full name, date of birth, and your credit union account number. Is it okay to use these details to proceed?
Yes, my name is John Cena. My date of birth is 1st of January 1977, and my member number is 23467K.
Thank you, John. I'll check your eligibility in principle now. Please hold for a few moments. You are eligible in principle for a Green Car Loan. Would you like to book an appointment with a loan advisor to discuss your application further?
Yes, please.
Great. Here are the available appointment slots with our loan advisor, all in Dublin time. Thursday, February 25th, 2026, from 10 to 11 o'clock. Thursday, February 26th, 2026, from 15 to 1600 hours. Friday, February 27th, 2026, from 11 to 12 o'clock. Which slot would you like to book?
I think the Friday slot works best for me, so please book that.
You've chosen Friday, February 27th, 2026, from 11 to 12 o'clock. Please hold for a few moments while I confirm your appointment with our team. Your appointment for Friday, February 27th, 2026, at 11 a.m. has been successfully booked. Would you like directions or parking information for visiting the credit union branch?
I am coming from Balbriggan, so I'd like some directions for public transport coming from Balbriggan, please.
Of course. From Balbriggan, take the 101 bus to Dublin Bazaras in the city centre. From there, connect to Dublin Bus 27 or 27B and get off at the Artane roundabout. It's just a short walk to the branch from there. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
What if I brought my car? Is there any parking available in the proximity of the Artane office?
Yes, there are about 20 parking spaces at the branch, plus plenty of paid on-street parking available in the surrounding streets. Let me know if you need anything else.
No, I think that's all the details I would need. Thank you very much for your help.
Okay, that's the end of the recording. None of that was faked. It made the appointment in real time on the screen. The conversation that you heard wasn't scripted. They could have had that conversation in any order or a slightly different conversation. Didn't have to be a member, happened to be a member. So let's see what you came up with in terms of response. Now, okay, quite a few things. Appointment calendar, appointment making, slots, eligibility check, AI voice recognition, information provision. People are still providing inputs here, thank you. What else have we got there? They keep moving. A process, information provision, membership verification. Well done. I'm going to move back to the presentation. So this is my set. Now, some of these are capabilities that the agent has, but we didn't demonstrate. You got most of them, I think, in terms of these, but it's not fair to ask you for ones we didn't actually include. It's a free-flowing conversation, so you can change the topic, you can interrupt. There was no interrupting going on, but you can interrupt the agent and change the topic, and it won't phase it in the least. It'll just switch to whatever you want to talk about at that point in time. You may not have picked up, it's quite subtle, but once the caller had given their name and date of birth, the AI agent started calling him John, because it now knew for sure that it was John calling. He volunteered that information, started to reuse that information in the conversation to personalize it. Comes back to what Fiona was saying about how people feel. If you can call them by their name as soon as humanly possible, then that's a good idea. Makes them feel good. So it's got calculations for calculating the monthly repayments. It knew the current loan rates. Actually pulled them directly off the Member First Credit Union website in real time. So if the update on the website's updated, the agent is updated. Book the information, obviously. The directions, you could have asked for directions from almost anywhere in the country. It would have given you the right directions for it, because it's able to look up a direction service to find out. If it started the conversation in French or Polish or German, then the agent would have responded in that native language right from the get-go. And while we can't show it in here, if somebody was calling in, God help us, maybe they've had a bereavement in the family and they want to talk about that, or let them know, the agent will show empathy. The agent will change the tone of voice, will slow down a little bit and say, I'm sorry for your loss, and behave appropriately for the circumstance. So it's actually really very powerful. Now, This is the Q&A bit for Fiona. We've got 2 bits left, so if anybody would like to ask any questions, I will give Annette my microphone.
Can I just say as well, I mean, it all looks really, really impressive, but it takes time. And time is of the essence in certain businesses, but it's an incremental build. So for us, we have different sprints, and we've only started our sprints. So the member onboarding piece and the loan processing piece, but we look at multiple journeys that we have within a credit union, but we have to start somewhere. So it's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we are committed with TEKenable to making this happen, and it's going to take time. So I think that's important. And we're going to have a few bumps in the road as well.
That functionality now, without significant investment, like if you were to be open 24/7 and have people sitting there answering those questions, like that's a huge cost.
Yeah, and we did try that a couple of years ago because, you know, most people don't want to be discussing their private business while they're in work, so they want to maybe call when they get home or call on a Saturday. And we were trying to put resources there, you know, for evening times, asking people to stay till 7, and now that's all gone. Because you can hear, you know, I suppose the digital agent did as good a job as the member first agent would do. But I think it's really important, you know, for us, it's the positive experience that the person has. So you need to make sure that the digital agent understands the culture of the organisation and is trained to understand how we would answer things as well.
Laura Keys from MSL Engineering. Fiona, a quick question for yourself with regards to the AI information training session you said you took part in internally. I suppose, what does that look like? What was the method? What was included on it or in it?
So for us, we used an agency. I mean, the guys have offered, and we felt that to bring all staff to TEKenable for an overview was too early for us. We needed an introduction. So there's a company called DCM, and this person wasn't technical. So basically they came in and we did a 4-hour session, and everybody had a laptop, so they were, you know, able to play around with the system, but it was in the guardrails of the training that we were doing. So it was purely an overview and to look at the art of the impossible or the possible, what can happen and what you can do with AI. And it was really an eye-opener because we brought all the staff together in January to explain to them why we were embarking on this journey and to reassure people that their jobs were secure and all of the good stuff that goes with that. But there's no point in talking about something, people hearing about AI without them understanding what it actually is and how it might impact them. So we knew that the launch of the CRM had happened, or the MX platform, plus we knew in people's daily lives AI was becoming more and more of a topical conversation. So we felt it was important to give them just a pure overview. It wasn't anything too technical. It was actually quite simple. Some of the things the trainer did was, I have 2 breasts of chicken and I have peppers and I have mushrooms. What can I make for dinner out of this? And it was incredible, you know, what it came back. And they're simple, but they meant something to people. You start getting technical and ask them to rewrite a procedure or something for the people go into overdrive, where if something that was meaningful to them, they could do. So it was a very simple overview.
So I'm going to ask the difficult question, right? So is, like, ultimately, I think this is probably doing as good a job nearly as a call center person themselves. So ultimately, at a certain point, this could replace the call center. Is that something you're thinking about in terms of upskilling your staff to move them on to the next thing? And how are you doing that?
So you'll see that we created all these hubs, and a big part of the credit union is being part of the community. So we've created a member engagement hub. So it allows people that would have maybe worked in different areas to go and be in the community. So there's an event in a local school, or there's an event in a local GAA club, so staff can go and interact and they can have that face-to-face. So it's releasing staff from the mundane tasks that the AI agent can do and go and do more meaningful tasks that an AI agent could not do. The personalised service.
Okay. Thank you very much, Fiona.
Thank you.
Really interesting. The final part is Annette is going to do a little bit of a wrap-up, and then we've got time for final Q&A if anybody wants it, and then out for lunch. So, Annette, you're between lunch.
I'll keep it snappy. So look, yeah, I'm just going to kind of reflect on, I suppose, what we've heard so far today. And obviously, Peter started this morning taking us through what a frontier firm is and how you kind of go on that journey and introduce the digital employees to us. We tend to call those maybe digital assistants as well, because some organizations don't like talking about digital employees because it makes people think, oh, you know, maybe we're going to replace staff. So I think Peter gave us a really nice example of the info at as a nice, easy way of introducing these kinds of digital agents into your organization. I thought Claire's section was very interesting in terms of the skills and the readiness. I think in Ireland we always tend to punch above our weight in terms of how ready and capable we are to go on these technology journeys. One of the things that did jump out to me is that age piece, that gender piece, that, you know, we have to bring everybody on the journey with us. And I think Fiona has given us a really nice example of how they went about it in their organization, because this technology can become something that only maybe the executive use or only the young people use. And I think we're missing a huge opportunity if we allow that to happen. So bringing everyone with you, I think, is extremely important. I like the fact that with our 3 customers, we had different examples of using AI, but also different ways of approaching. So Paul had a significant problem that we looked at developing a new technology in AI to resolve. Paddy came from a more traditional, we've migrated from on-prem to cloud, we have more traditional systems. How can we still infuse AI, even though the applications have been in existence for 10 plus years? And I think then Fiona came from the perspective of, we're going to modernize our experience for our members. We're going to use a combination of out-of-the-box technologies and extend those capabilities, but it's still about the people. So really the message in terms of that journey is it can be different for every organization. So I think talking about Paul's presentation, and we've got to know Paul and the DPP quite a lot in the last while. For me, even the understanding of what goes on in your organization is extremely interesting. But the process we went on with Paul was interesting because of, as a Microsoft Advanced Specialist in AI, we have access to funding, as Paul mentioned earlier. So when somebody has an issue and they're like, well, I don't know if AI will solve this, we kind of start with, you know, tell us what the issue is. We go down into the detail, we investigate different potential ways of addressing it. We can then ask Microsoft to pay for that first engagement. And sometimes that's the hard bit, to get in your company, get the buy-in to say, you know, we're prepared to invest some money in this. So having the Microsoft funding allows us collectively to say, look, Microsoft are going to put some investment into this, we're going to prove the concept, and then take it back and get further investment. So for us, I think that was a really interesting engagement, and it helped Paul as well, obviously, bring something back to the organization to say, you know, collectively we've got this investment, and then we can bring it forward. I think balancing the technology with risk and regulation is also really important. You know, when we talk about AI, there's so much out there that's bleeding edge, and I think we tend to stay away from the bleeding edge, and we do work with lots of regulated entities, and it's really important that the AI is bringing solutions, but it's not opening you up to risks that are going to cause even bigger issues in the organization. It was great to hear from Paddy. Again, we've been seeing probably the headlines in the news about the uninsured drivers being taken off the road. It's fantastic to see what's happening as drivers and as citizens, to see how this is helping us to stay safer. I think for me, the idea of things like deep fakes, I know, Patrick, you asked the question about that. You know, there's so much out there that we're seeing in our personal lives that are concerning, but then you take it further into an organization like MIBI and you think the impact on them financially, reputationally, it's such a big concern. So using AI to help identify AI threats, I think, is a really important aspect. I also like the idea of the CVC. Having lived in England for many, many years, I was very familiar with the statutory off-road notification that you had to fill out if your car wasn't insured. But I like the idea that you can take an example from somewhere else. It's in the UK, it's in the EU, but actually if we bring it here, we don't need to mirror what they're doing. We can actually assess it now, look at where AI can make it better before we implement what's somewhere else. So take the best practice, but actually use the technology to do it better and get ahead of what everyone else is doing. Fiona, as a member of Enniscorthy Credit Union, I'm very much looking forward to your solutions moving right across the country. I think we all want personalised services. And we're all busy, and as you said, we don't want to be accessing things at a time that suits somebody else. We want to do it when it suits us. I think there's a real passion in listening to Fiona in terms of the member is at the centre of everything, but the member is looking for things to be served up to them in a different way. So also the important thing to say about what Fiona is doing is, as Noel said, she's leveraging a lot of the out-of-the-box functionalities for AI. So the AI doesn't all have to be built specifically for you. You can use the tools that are there and maybe extend them a little bit. I think the idea of data being at the center of, and I don't know how many times we've said this, but every AI project we work on has a significant data component as well. Like, it's the lifeblood of your organization, so how can we do more with it, and how can we serve the customers better, knowing what we know about them? The skills are so important, and to say again, I think what Fiona has done in Member First is a real exemplar. You know, bring people on the journey with us, have the guardrails in place. And I think the digital call centre agent really giving you that extending outside your operating hours, allowing your people to do different kinds of roles, engaging your members in different ways. I think, you know, that's the ideal for any organisation, is you have your employees working on things that they're interested in, and you have your customers served in the way that they want to interact with you. I think the only other question that we wanted to ask you, maybe a hypothetical question, or unless somebody wants to put their hand up and answer it. With everything you've seen today, can you see that idea of digital employees or digital assistants in your organisation? And are there specific things that you're sitting here thinking, this could be a real differentiator for us? So if someone wants to share, do. But I suppose we're saying, TEKenable, we believe that we're the company that can go on that journey with you. So we'd love to have that conversation either over lunch or do a follow-up like we did with Paul last year, and look where it ended up. So, you know, we'd be delighted to go on that journey with you. So just nab one of us on the break, and yeah, we look forward to going on that journey with you. That's it from me.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Jenny and team, for organising. Much appreciated.